Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to The Human Advocate. I am the Human Advocate, advocating for humans. And today we're going to go over part 2 of the H1B1 visa debate. That's Dear Elon video by Sam Hyde that's been taking the internet by storm recently. And I got through kind of part 1 yesterday, and I realized part of it cut out kind of in the middle there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of start where it cut out and just go from there because I think that point was pretty important. So let me do that now. All right, here we go.
Rate problem by turning America into India are fuckers. People are not interchangeable economic units. If they're not
interchangeable economic units. People have individual ideas and aspirations and everything else that goes along with that. You don't pull one person out of somewhere and then put them in another place. And then the way a culture works is different, right? The way one culture works one way is another way a culture doesn't work. I wouldn't take a Japanese person and put them in an American economy, like full-bred Japanese, raised, born, never interacted with any Americans, any English, put them in American culture and expect them to totally integrate and to totally accept every single facet of American life. It's just not going to happen. And if you take an Italian person and you put them into a Japanese work culture, guess what? They're not going to like that either. The only people that should go to these countries are people that are seeking to go to these countries without the enticement of these ideas, of these programs. Otherwise, you're incentivizing a cultural clash. You are incentivizing cultural clash. People that want to come should come if that is their desire to do so. But when you get involved with the government and the government decides we need these types of people, instead of incentivizing their own people to take on those positions, as if that's not possible, as if it's not feasible, then you have a problem. And you have to believe in your own people if you want to have a country. If you don't believe in your own people, then what are you doing in government? Moving on.
Not more than that, then that's just an extension of antinatalism. That's just nihilism. That's just people don't matter. Neil deGrasse Tyson, the universe doesn't care. Shit. The universe cares.
The universe cares, and this is absolutely a point that needs to be hammered home. The idea of nihilism, the idea of antinatalism, the idea of work culture, work until you're dead, until you bleed, should be repulsive to any human being alive. In no point in history has there ever been a culture that has prized above all else to work until you die, because that doesn't create society. Because no one wants to work for the rest of their lives. People want to enjoy the one life that they know that they have. And when you go down this road of nihilism, what is the only conclusion that you can draw? It's, what can I get out of you? What can I get out of you and take to benefit me? It's not, what can I get for my community? What can I get for my people? What can I get for my neighbors? It's, what can I get for me in this small amount of time that I have? Because that's all that I know, because that's all I've ever been taught. Ridiculous idea of nihilism, antinatalism. It repulses me. It should repulse you. Anyway.
That's why we're here. It's understandable why a computer guy, why an engineer would think that or would want to think that, because it would make solving problems so much easier. We have hardwired group preferences.
It would make things easier if you could just take one piece of code and switch it out for another piece of code. If that's what you consider humans to be, then you cannot be a leader of humanity. If that's what you consider humans to be, you cannot be a leader of humanity. I've repeated that twice now because it's important. If you want to lead humans, you have to behave humanly. I think I said this in my first video, but we're just going from there.
We have genetic memory, we have culture. This is not learned stuff. It's so deeply embedded in us that
it is deeply embedded. It is deeply embedded because we are beings of culture. We're created by our circumstances and everything around us, our upbringing. It is not interchangeable. It is not interchangeable. To some degree, it might be interchangeable, but it is not. You can't take the same. You can't expect the same result from bringing one person and replacing them with another. You're not going to get the same thing that you have already previously created. Do you understand? It doesn't happen.
It carries on for thousands of years. Thinking of people as interchangeable units, while it would be useful in a simulation or in an economic theorem, it strips them of their humanity. And by the way, it's one of the...
It does strip them of their humanity. You consider humans to be pieces of code, pieces of a cog of a machine, pieces of something else that is not human. When you degrade the human experience to be, what can I get out of you, you don't embrace humanity anymore. You've become anti-human, you've become my enemy, you've become, hopefully everyone who's watching this video's enemy, and you deserve to be thrown out on your ass. You absolutely do. You deserve it. Because you are behaving in a way that is antisocial, anti-human, and is not for the benefit of humanity. Yeah, we could go to the frickin' stars, but if everyone on Earth is a fucking slave, what the fuck does it matter? Anyway.
One of the first steps towards any authoritarian dictatorship type system. It's one of the first steps towards Marxism, is thinking of people as just labor. It's a very gross...
It is. It's a gross
anti-human.
It's a gross way of considering humans as just units of labor to be used and discarded whenever their use is done. And if you have gotten to the point in your life where that is how you think humans are, you have lost your way. You have lost the path. You have lost what makes you a human. You have lost probably your soul in most part, because you don't understand the divinity of humanity, and that our destiny is not to sit here and work and grind. It is to create, to enjoy, and to share. It is not to keep for oneself. Profit without works to show for it, without a society, without community to give it to. What are you doing?
Thing to think, just to appeal to the Redditor in you. That's middle brain.
Absolutely, middle brain.
Shit.
Yeah.
Stupid people at the bottom of the spectrum know that everybody is special.
Yes.
Everybody's special. Everybody's different and has their own thing. Retards know this.
Yes.
Geniuses understand that everybody is a unique product by and for their zeitgeist, or Zeitgeist if you want to go.
I think I talked about this in the other video, so I'm not going to belabor the point. But basically, yeah, you can't bring a George Washington to the 21st century and expect him to lead like a George Washington would. You can't bring an Elvis Presley into the 18th century and expect him to create rock and roll. It doesn't make sense. Each person is in a time and place, which is why I hate the rose-tinted glasses of liberalism when they look at the past and are like, yeah, they had slaves. The founders had slaves, so we should denigrate them. You absolute fucking dumbass. I can't express to you the rage, the anger that I feel when I hear phrases like that. It's like, How did someone 1,000 years ago not realize how to make a fucking fire? You dumbass. It's because it took time and effort to realize and come to conclusions in their brains. Not everyone is born as smart, as fucking godlike as you. And when you consider yourself to be that way, you're trying to make yourself look like a god. And you're ignoring God as an entity to come to conclusions, to realize, to be like, aha, aha, aha. You ignore the aha moments of your life. And that's why liberals are very good at having consensus thought, because they never have the aha. Excuse me. What about this? Aha! No, it never happens because it's all about consensus. It's all about suppression. It's all about making sure we continue on the ever march progress of marching off a cliff. But they don't realize that there's things that make up those things. I've talked about it long enough. Anyway.
With the moist critical pronunciation, everybody is uniquely a product of their time and location and has their place in space and time.
Thank you.
The smart people know this, the stupid people know this. It's people in the middle with 110 IQ.
This is also just one of the best points of the video. You can't, it's the same, it's what I just said.
Which is the worst IQ to have, who think that people can just be pushed around and moved around and changed.
They can't.
They can't. No hate towards Hispanics, okay? But that's why the room that I'm sitting in is covered in dust.
I'm gonna kind of skip over this one.
The contractor I hired, and what you get is you get masonry cement. You can't polish it. They left board marks and footprints in it. And
it's basically the same thing.
Another crew of black people. Okay, shout out to Greg to come in here with jackhammers and get this shit dumpstered out of here. I went and hired my own blacks. I went in the ghetto and hired them by hand. That's how you need to hire blacks for SpaceX. And what you get is you get lower quality construction. You get lower wages for the blue collar workers who are here and fighting. You realize that people are fucking up against the wall fighting to make ends meet? Do you understand that the American people are on the ropes right now?
Yeah, do you understand? Do the people that are leading these thought conversations, do they understand the stress that the average American is under? Do they understand that? Do they get it? I don't think they do. I don't think they understand how close we're getting to a precipice of arguing for radical societal change. If they think that in their contentment of their profit margins, they are, insulated from the squalor, from all of us trying to reach their humanity. If you're going to ignore us and our humanity is going to come out knocking at your door. How about that? How about that?
Your people are not the world, okay? It's the American people. That's where this shit is popping off. That's where you came to do business. The American people are your problem now.
Exactly. If you immigrate here and you want to become an American, then the American people are your problem, are your issue. That's why you came here. If you came here to help the world get better, you can do that, but not at the expense of America. That makes no sense. Otherwise, go wherever the hell you want in the world. It doesn't make any sense that you would come to America and then try to benefit the globe without benefiting America. No sense.
To the extent that you want people to pay attention to your opinion. And by people, I mean actual people, not Patrick Bet-David, not Ian Miles Chong, Scott Adams, not these fucking faggots that'll walk around sucking your ass because you have money and because you made an electric car.
I don't, specifically about those three, I don't know much about them, except Scott Adams. I've watched him a little bit. And yeah, he sometimes does seem that way. But, you can't, we're not going to have these people that are just there to just take a little bit off the top and not really do anything. and not really sink their heels in and advocate for the people here. Because if you're gonna be this limp armed, just hanging there, just like, yeah, yeah, I guess, yeah, sometimes here's a good opinion, here's a good opinion. No, what we need is someone who is actually advocating for Americans, not thoughts and ideas. The time for philosophy is not now. The time for action is now. Philosophy is great in times of peace, not in times of crisis. And we are in a time of crisis in the United States.
But to the extent that you want that, you have to protect the American people. You're all about being pro-natalism and increasing the birth rate. Why is the average dude going to want to have kids when he can barely afford to live by himself and eat Domino's? Hey, why?
Valid point. Valid points. If you want to increase the birth rate, if that is your goal, if that is what you've advocated for, why are you advocating for things to push that further lower? Pick a lane, dude. Pick a lane. You can't be this flip-floppy man. You wanna own a tech platform? Fine. You want to get involved in a political debate? Fine. But there are things that you have to conform to if you want to take up the mantle of those things. You can do both, but you have to satisfy both. You can do one, and you don't have to satisfy the other, but don't say you're going to do both. Simple as.
Why isn't China importing infinity
This is one of the best things of the video.
Indians right now? If it's such a huge economic advantage, why isn't China doing it? We need to do a naval blockade of China to make sure.
I love the naval blockade because India borders China. So they have to go through the mountains, but it borders China, so there's no naval blockade necessary.
Sure they don't get any of these amazing Indians.
That means they're even closer, and they could just hop the border. It's just
every Indian that makes his way into China is a threat because China will use their genius to get one over on us.
Yes. We must stop them.
That's the biggest threat this country's facing, right? I think we need to go nuclear. I think we need to say, if China imports enough Indians, it's like diamonds. It's like nanotechnology. Indians are like nanotechnology. We have to be willing to use nuclear weapons to keep China from getting these precious Indians. That's step one.
Why isn't China importing the Indians? Why? Despite all the animosity, of course, between those two nations because they're border countries. Why not, though? Why not? I mean, we've had animosity with Mexico, right? Why would we not want to import infinity amount of Mexicans? And the reason is because of different cultures. That's the reason why American people don't want to just import everybody into the United States, because there is a different cultural expectation, a different quality of life standard, a different work-life balance standard that Americans are not used to. You are driving a race to the bottom with this. You are driving a race to the bottom, and this is only good for those who own the companies, for those who sponsor the H1B1 visas, and for the government, because that makes us easily controllable. It's all a big scam.
Sounds retarded, right? Because it is. It's retarded. It's subtarded. Ever hear of a subtard? By the way, Moist Critical coined
Elon.
that term, subtard. Competing with China in what sense? GDP? Making a number go up? Having software companies that are valued more highly?
Exactly.
Competing with China in what sense? And at what cost?
At what cost? At what cost?
If the cost is making America look like Calcutta, that's not worth it.
It is not worth it. If we want to compete, right? And China has a method of competition, which is state ownership of its businesses, of using the CCP to send spies to be covert, and to use its own people as a method of achieving economic superiority without their benefit, why would America want to gravitate towards that? Why would we have to downgrade ourselves into the ground to become lesser in order for the country to succeed? That makes no sense. You want the government to succeed. If that's what you're being honest about, then maybe that's what you want. But you don't want the American people to benefit. So we need to be honest. We need to be honest here about this.
That's not a price.
And no American wants to become a Chinese citizen. No American wants to live like a Chinese person under the thumb of the CCP, of the government. No one in America who really likes America, who's lived here, who's been raised here, wants that. They want the Constitution. They want freedom of speech. They want all the 10 amendments. They want to make more amendments. They want to advocate for their positions in Congress. They want free, more free knowledge education. They want homeschooling. They want their children to be more successful, more free, less authoritarian than the previous generation, which came before them. That is what Americans want. And when if you are just saying, yeah, we need to see the GDP go up on the line, you are my enemy, because you are looking at what is quantifiable, and quantifiability in the human experience is a single portion of what being a human is. It is not the entire picture. If you're going to make your entire company based off of that, you deserve no support from anybody on this earth.
That we're willing to pay. People keep posting these aerial drone display videos of drones shaped like...
I've seen this all the time on Twitter. It's like, oh, look at these drones. China's going to take us over. It's like drones.
Like a dragon. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's something that a bright high schooler could do.
Right.
On a smaller scale, is it not? Making drones move around in 3D space.
If we had the budget and we had, we gave kids drones, I'm sure they could figure this fucking shit out. But yet, because it's on social media and because there's so many freaking posts behind it, everyone's like, oh my God, China's going to take us over. We have different strengths and different competitions. You can't, if you want to compete with someone, you don't usually compete by going head to head on whatever their strength is. And their strength is putting numerous mountains of quantity of digital media, propaganda, physical displays to demoralize you. What America is good at is having freedom of thought and exercising their opinions and looking at flaws and arguments and creating new things, inventions, innovation. That is what we are good at. And we need to safeguard that as well, not just become more like this.
How is that an impressive problem to anybody except boneheads who are mystified by drones in the first place? Look at this aerial drone display. It's a ballet of killer drones. How can we compete with that? That's what drones do. They move around in coordinate space. Who gives a fuck? It's the low-hanging fruit of robotics that mystifies people.
True.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Didn't we have more impressive shit in the 80s? Isn't this more impressive?
One. Cover.
Yes. Absolutely.
With no pilot,
and that was 40 years ago.
Even more unusual craft and propulsion systems have been designed and tested.
Why do we need to compete
almost 50
with them?
years
Can't we just kick their spies
half a
out and tell
century.
them to fuck off? When do I get some Chinese pussy? Okay, am I not a big enough media figure?
This is a great point. Why don't we tell the spies to fuck off? Why don't we tell the spies to fuck off? We can't tell the spies to fuck off because that would be racist. Because what American society doesn't understand is that half of China is basically spies for the Communist Party. They are at the beck and call of the Communist Party. They're not individuals like we understand America to be individuals. They are at the beck and call of the Chinese Communist Party, under threat of hurting their family, their businesses at home, their lifestyle, everything that they know. Once they come to the United States, they are effectively watched, looked at, and put under the thumb of the CCP to be used for whatever purposes they deem necessary. That could be as innocuous as going to school and getting knowledge and bringing it back to the CCP, or it could be as damaging as getting a job at Boeing or Lockheed Martin and stealing technology and taking it back to the CCP as well, and then cloning it and using it against the United States. But we can't say anything about it because it would be racist to do so. We could easily solve this problem. And it's not like we're being racist. It's a quantifiable fact. It's also a fact that we can see and observe and prove. And if we're looking at someone, we're like, okay, just tell us, are you a spy for the CCP? Are you? Is that true? Are you scared to go return home to the CCP? And they'll say yes. Then we will be like, we will protect you. We will keep you. You can become an American if that is if that is truly your desire. Those are the people that we should be helping. Those are the people that want to be free, not economic units like India. Continuing.
That the CCP, it's the CCP, Chinese Communist Party? Why aren't they sending these hot spies to fuck with me? Suck my dick for blackmail. When's that gonna happen?
Great point.
China, I'm waiting, okay? I have 300,000 YouTube subscribers, or 250,000 probably, 200,000? How much on Hyde Wars? If you have over 100,000 Twitter followers, you should demand that a hot Chinese spy comes and sucks your dick, okay? You take a video.
Logical.
Whatever.
Logical.
Why is that? Am I not popular enough to get this fucking mingling? To get Bing Bing over here? Ah! A Tesla Model X and Bing Bing over here sucking me. That's my price, China. Send them over. Do we need to build giant cities that nobody lives in to compete?
We don't.
Do we need to turn our country into a surveillance state?
No.
Fucking night.
We don't. And this is the thing the American government and the businesses and the leaders don't understand because they have no vision. They have no all they know is what they can see. All they know is what they can see in China, and they're like, I want a piece of that. We want a piece of that. They don't see how good it could be if we decide to invest in our own people. And they're enemies of the Republic, if that's how they think. If they think that we should be a surveillance state, that we should build these mega cities, we should have this surveillance of infinitum. Enemies of the Republic, enemies of the world, enemies of humanity, and they deserve to be called out as such.
Nightmare to compete. Do we need to essentially have slave labor to compete? What type of competition are you talking about, and at what cost? Competing with China is competing with literal slave labor, and that's impossible to compete with.
Which is why the North didn't want to compete with it. Which is why they didn't compete with it. Which is why a civil war was launched. Which is why you don't compete with slavery. You either stamp it out, that's an option, or you come up with a different system that makes your system better than slavery. Those are the two options. You can if you want to compete with slavery, you don't become slaves. That's not acceptable. That's an option, actually. It could be an option if you're a fucker. But the options that you have are to get rid of slavery entirely. Not going to happen. Not likely. The other option is to create a system that is better than slavery. And that would be absolute freedom, belief, self-belief, encouragement, improvement, investment, all of that. We're so short-sighted. The leadership is so short-sighted on this. I hate it.
It's not worth competing with.
It's not worth
nobody who has a real sense of what matters in life thinks anything about competing with China. We've been hearing this for 30 fucking years.
Exactly.
As long as China has been an industrial nation, there have been headlines, The Economist. I remember this in the dentist office when I was a kid. China's looming on the horizon. We have to accept a lower quality of life immediately to compete with China. That's the thrust of every article. You, the American worker, you have to take less pay and accept more bullshit because there's a big boogeyman looming on the horizon. It's China for 30 years. Before that, it was Japan. It's constant. It's to keep wages suppressed. It's to make you shut up. Elon.
It's all about fear. It's all about suppression. It's all these thought people up there in the high towers that are just trying to make us into slaves as quietly as possible. Quietly as possible, because they don't want you to have a good life. They don't want you to benefit. They don't want you to thrive. They don't want you to create. What they want is subservience, obedience, unhealthiness, so you will always be coming and begging for more. Because we're the only ones that can do it, because we're the healthy ones. We're the ones that are thriving. We have all the power. We have all the responsibility. You have none. Sickness. Mental sickness.
Doubles down in this tweet, offering a false dichotomy. Either we have to have more legal immigration, or you, the person disagreeing with it, you want America to fail for your own personal gain. What personal gain are you talking about? You want America to fail for your own.
It was a terrible point by Elon. It was terrible.
Own personal gain. What is Elon? What are you talking about? How does anybody personally gain from this? The only gain happening is in stock prices of tech companies. That's the gain. That's where the gain is. Cui bono.
Yeah, please tell me where that's not happening in this instance, where this is not happening, where we're importing. If people are gaining, is there an instance? You should be able to find one instance where, if we're doing this for humanitarian reasons, if we're doing this because out of the good of our heart, we're just trying to help people. If we're importing these people, and if you can find one instance where we're not driving down wages, where we're not seeing increased corporate profits, because someone would have to be suffering. That's how helping people works. You have to suffer a little bit to help people, to get something back. That's how the universe works. If you're constantly taking, then yeah, you're going to see lines go up on a graph, and you're going to see numbers go down for wages, and you're going to see that. But if all we can find is the increasing line going up on the graph, you're not being honest. You're not being honest. Because we should be able to find one example of where someone is suffering under this idea, under this program. But that's not the case. There's no personal benefit happening to the people that are asking for this. The personal benefit is happening to the stock prices and bottom lines. That's the personal benefit.
That's who stands to benefit from this arrangement. This tweet, it's not first principles thinking. It's not in good faith dialogue. Nope. This is a dishonest mischaracterization. Nobody's calling you a liar. People say things in the heat of the moment that are dishonest, though. This is a dishonest
And all he has to do is just come out and just apologize. Unlike the left, which will not accept apologies, the right will. The right will. And you can. We believe that people can be remorseful and accepting, and we can give second chances. That's what republicanism is about. That's what the country is about. That's what America is about, is giving second chances. And why you don't want to give a second chance to the American worker, and you want to say, oh, if you have to make schools, like, there's no point, you're finished. You're not giving us the second chance. You're not giving the people a second chance to try and correct the mistakes that have been made by the system in this DEI, socialist, Marxist idea of what humans should be. And if you don't believe in second chances, you're not an American. You're not an American, and you don't deserve to be an American, and you should leave.
This characterization of the tens of thousands of people who are blowing up your website. This is not an own on Elon. This is not dunking on Elon. I know that you can bring the ban hammer down, and I know that you are going to be tempted to do so, that you already have with the Groypers, which, by the way, you have to undo that, man.
Yeah.
You blanket banned people, not for saying or not for posting swastikas, but for stating their opinion on this H1B issue.
You can't do that.
That is a complete violation of the trust that the people you wanted to like you placed in you when you said that you're for free speech.
And there's a reason why you can't censor. It's because free speech is like, I always equate it to being a valve, right? It's a spigot, it's a spigot of water. Sometimes it flies everywhere, it gets everything wet, and censorship is the little thing that you turn on the top, right? So you can have it go full blast, and maybe we don't want exactly full blast, or accept it's for illegal activity, and things like that. But you might turn it just a little bit. But when you continue turning the valve, right, you're backing up the water. The water is going further and further back, and it's looking for another place to escape. So wherever there's another valve, more people are going to go to that valve because they are thirsty, and they're going to want whatever that thing that you're not getting from that valve is coming from a different valve. So you're effectively amplifying opposing opinions. If you oppose their opinions, if you don't oppose their opinions, there's no reason to censor them. But if you are effectively censoring opposing opinions just for being opposing opinions, you're creating a dangerous precedent for people to go to where they can't hear that information. They're going to be curious. That is the nature of humanity. That's the Streisand effect. You should undo this, and you should apologize, and you should say, sorry, I was in the heat of the moment. I didn't mean to do that. It's fine. We'll reinstate people. We'll have them back. Because in the marketplace of ideas, people need to be examining these ideas and accepting them and debating them. And if you find that a majority of people are not on your side, that doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong. It doesn't necessarily mean you're right. It just means that there's a majority of people that perhaps haven't been educated, a majority of people that don't have all the facts, and that would be your job to bring them the facts if the facts do exist. If the facts don't exist, then you can't be upset when someone says, no, that's not right. Simple as, Elon.
It's straight George W. Bush. You're either with us or you're with the terrorists.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
We're not going back to
You're either agreeing with me,
We're not going back
or
to
you're
that.
fucking an enemy. You're an enemy.
No.
It's not an argument. It's not a well-reasoned
Nope.
position. It's just my way or the highway. Is that what free speech is? Is that who you are? You can just be a celebrity. You can be like Ellen
Hope
DeGeneres.
not.
You can be like The Rock. And you can get Ozempic, you can get breast implants, start going on The View, whatever you want for popularity. You can do that, of course. But to the extent that you have popularity, if you keep digging this hole, it will be misplaced, and it'll be there because you're rich. What does winning actually mean?
Right.
Healthy, functioning societies, they need more than gadgets. They need more than Marvel, more than goy slop. They need a shared ideology, heritage, history, beliefs and values, religion,
Right.
or they collapse and they crumble. That's
When I did a little 15-minute little video yesterday, and I talked about member berries, and I talked about nostalgia, and you can't build a society out of nostalgia, out of things that are Marvel and movies and icons. You have to have an inspiration of people that want to believe in themselves and want to make something and want to create and benefit their communities. If you don't give them the chance and the opportunity for that, then society doesn't exist. There's no reason for anyone to participate in society. They'll make their own. And it'll be a corner of the internet that you probably won't agree with. And that corner of the internet might get larger and larger until eventually everyone agrees with it, and then it takes you over because you're not being honest. I was going to ingenuous, but genuous. You're not being honest about that. So yeah, what is winning?
Babel, that's Rome,
Yeah.
that's every empire that's been,
Let's go back and kind of talk over it.
and it'll be there because you're rich. What does winning actually mean?
Yeah.
Healthy, functioning societies, they need more than gadgets.
Right.
They need more than Marvel, more than goy slop. They need
Exactly.
a shared ideology, heritage, history, beliefs and values, religion, or they collapse and they crumble.
Yep.
That's
History proves this
Babel,
out.
That's Rome, that's every empire that's been crushed because there wasn't social cohesion.
History proves
Basic bitch libertarian principles aren't enough.
Yeah.
Maybe they're enough to get at VC funding. Maybe they're enough to create an interesting exercise.
Sure. Yeah. And I totally agree with that. I think, yeah, if you want to make a little libertarian pocket within a society, go right ahead. Make it. But you don't create society out of just libertarian principles of, I'm going to let you do you and you do me and I will be fine, because most people don't think that way. Most people don't think that way. They have cultures and beliefs and ideas that they bring with them, and they're going to put on you because those cultures and ideas exist. You don't have a blank slate for which to do. The only way you get that is by making a community of like-minded individuals. If the state allows you, and hopefully the state will allow you to do that. And I would be for that. I don't mind if a libertarian society wants to create itself within the United States. If they take one state over, like they want to do in New Hampshire and make it a project, an experiment, sure, that's fine. Most people, we can get those people that don't want to live in that out of there, and people that want to do in that, let them go. I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that's an issue. The issue people have is, yeah, let's just run everything by the numbers, by economy, not consider spirit or culture or religion or any of the other things that have been around for thousands and thousands of years. You can't just ask people to discard that and just make themselves economic Ubermensch for you. I'm sorry, you can't. That's not the basis of humanity. You're being unrealistic if that is your expectation.
Of some sort, but they're not enough to hold people together. And again, we're back to the idea of people as a collection of economic units. That's
Right.
what at the foundation of Marxism.
Right.
That reality is just math, and thus the justification
You said it.
for a lot of
That reality is just math. Reality is just math. This is based on like grit and physics and like, if you just grind hard enough, you're gonna get everything that you want. No. Some of the greatest thinkers, some of the greatest politicians, some of the greatest people in the world, you know what they do? They go for walks. They sit in silence. They write. They have time for themselves. They're not constantly grinding, constantly thinking about the next hustle. How can I get the most out of this little tiny little speck of dust? What they're thinking is like, how can I create? What further creations can I bring? Can I benefit people? Looking at the world and nature, how can I make that mesh? How can I make that togetherness? How can I bring people together? And you won't find that in spreadsheets and numbers and mathematics, which is why I've always disliked mathematics. I understand its necessity for reality to exist, but it's not the only thing. What's important is to understand individuals have different ideas about where they are going in life. And your job as a society and a government and as a business should be to understand those ideas and to try and do as much as you can. Don't just pay it lip service. Try and do as much as you can to make that a possibility, because then people want to invest in you because they want to see that return to them. People don't understand the inverse relationship that comes with investment. All they see is, numbers on a graph. That's great. But if you invest in people, it turns out people are like, whoa, that's pretty neat. I've never had that happen before. People like to give back. And this is psychology. What is it? Dale Carnegie. If you give someone something or you give someone a compliment, they're more likely to give you one back. Why? Because we are born and we understand psychology, and psychology says reciprocation is a nice societal function. It's how we benefit each other, because that builds each other up. That builds everyone up. Tired of this reductionist thinking.
Marxism is also what leads Silicon Valley libertarian type people to attempt to quantify the unquantifiable. Mount Rushmore, the space program, the interstate system,
One of the best points
motion
also.
pictures, electricity. These are all things that are not quantifiable.
Not.
They're quantifiable in the sense that you can look back and you can say that they cost X amount of dollars, or that a certain amount.
Exactly. Exactly. You're ignoring the human spirit. You ignore the possibility. You ignore the possibility for this surefire, small, understood thing. When that is not necessarily what the universe wants, or what is best for the world, or what's best for everyone. If you're unwilling to take risks, you can't be an American either. Americans take risks. Americans take risks. You know how I know that? Because George Washington crossed the Delaware River on December 25th. And he did that because there was a risk involved. The revolution could end right now if I don't do this successfully. The risk involved was great. It was frozen, it's cold, it's icy, people could die, sink in the ships, winter, cold, all of that. But they defied the odds because that's what humanity does. We defy the odds. That's how you know you're human. That's how you know you're alive. That's how you know you exist. Because you defy the odds. That's why when Han Solo said, "Never tell me the odds." You know why we appreciate Han Solo in Star Wars? Because that kind of spirit. And that's why we look at C-3PO as a dork. Because if Han Solo was like, "Oh man, those odds sound terrible. I guess I'm not going to do that. Let me just go this way, the surefire way, because the data says I should." No! That's not what humanity's about. Understand that.
Amount of concrete and steel was used in their construction, but these dream projects are unquantifiable things. There's no slider in the program where you can crank up the number of Indians to 200 million and bring the American dream to fruition faster. Nope. Okay? There's no.
It's like we gotta spread democracy, man. We gotta spread democracy anywhere and everywhere, man. We gotta bring democracy to Iraq, to Iran, to Russia, to China. You ever considered the fact and the possibility that they weren't meant to have democracy? And that might hurt you a little bit. Maybe that hurts. Oh my hurt. Oh, it hurts. Some people aren't meant for it. And that's fine. That's totally fine. But you can't expect the American dream by, just cranking up the number of, on a slider, like on a game, or a difficulty slider. It's again, this is a quantifiable metric that you're trying to do, which is reductionist and, again, anti-human.
Data entry point where you can bump up the Indians and get Chrysler buildings popping up everywhere. Nope. More Art Deco construction.
Nope. Because you know where architecture comes from? You know where design comes from? It comes from the mind and the culture of the people that create those buildings and those designs. It doesn't come from a blank slatedness. That's why people live in houses that look welcoming and accommodating and stay away from ones that don't look welcoming and accommodating. Because there's something in us that it's like, that is repulsive to what I am, to what we are. That's why those uglier buildings are universally looked at as ugly. It's not hard to understand. Yeah, maybe it saves you money. Maybe it's architecturally sound. Just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's great or it's good. Just because you can put more people inside of it doesn't mean it's good. Just because you can make more money off of it doesn't mean it's good. What is good is different than what is quantifiable. And those two things get conflated all the time.
More bloated code bases, more tech gadgets, more poorly run hotels, more work ethic, okay? What we need is leaders willing to fight for the American people.
Exactly.
Not for corporations.
Not for corporations.
Not for the idea of America, but for the American people. That is the only thing
Right.
that we need
Right.
on the brink of collapse, on the eve of our crumbling.
Yes.
It needs to be something higher, a higher idea.
We are looking for leadership. We are looking for leadership. Not in what is quantifiable, because the greatest generals, the greatest leaders don't look at quantifiable metrics. They look at what is possible. What can we do? What can we do? Not what should we do. What can we do? John F. Kennedy. Ask not what their country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That is a belief in the people. That is a belief that says to me, you believe in the people. You believe in them to pursue and make their own lives better. Why have we lost that? Why have we lost that? I'll tell you why we lost that. Because we pursue the bottom line. Because quantifiable metrics, because utilitarianism, because Marxism, because nihilism. There's no point. Why do what we can? Because there's a possibility we might fail, so why even try? Ridiculous, anti-human garbage.
Than tech company market caps.
No, instead of trying, let's just import 1 million Indians because they can work harder and longer for less pay. Because that's a surefire thing that's going to make our company profits go up. Instead of investing in the people here. Because that takes time and effort, and I don't want to do that, and the odds are it might not work, and oh my God, it's just terrible. You deserve to fail if that's your mentality. You deserve to fail, and you deserve to feel the burn of the American people on your back. And the scorn for not believing in your fellow man. You deserve it.
If it's just that, then it's just noise. It's just not reality. Reality is the hundreds of thousands of kids who are graduating with massive college debt.
Yeah.
Hundreds of job applications.
Yeah.
They're being looked over
Yeah.
for people who are not us. That's not a meritocracy. That's
I'm not a tech guy. I don't have a tech degree. But the promise of going to school, going to high school, all of high school I was taught, let's go to college. Parents said, you got to go to college. School says you got to go to college. Counselor says you got to go to college. You go to college. You get the college degree. And they say, just get a college degree in whatever you want. Okay, sounds good. You're the leader. You're the authoritarian. You're the one that's supposed to be guiding my life. Okay, sure. Let me do that. I'll just get a degree in whatever I want. I got a degree in history. Graduated. Can't find a job. What? I thought I was going to get a job. I had a degree in history. You told me I can get a degree in whatever I want. There was no list of saying, here's the most demanded jobs. Here's what your country would like for you. There was nothing like that. It was just, just do what you want, man. Just do what you want. It's all free. It's all cool. By the way, here's a $50,000 bill for something you can't use. The scorn you should have for these people, for making you go through this gauntlet, for making you do this, should be immeasurable. You can't tell a whole generation of people to do something, and then they do it, and then you don't have the thing that you said they were going to have. That's you're a traitor. You are a traitor. A traitor to the republic, a traitor to the generations, a traitor to the future of the country. And again, you deserve to be looked down upon with scorn. As a child, as a young person, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to formulate my own opinion before I'm 18? After 18, sure. Yeah, you can throw that all on me. But if you're telling me and you're indoctrinating me and you're telling me I need to do these things and get these jobs, and I do that, and then I can't get the jobs. And then you come back and you say, oh, well, the job is not for you. It's actually for someone from Punjab, from India, or from China, or from anywhere. That's not the way, man. That's not the way. You're going to have problems.
It's not some idealistic, high-minded thing. It's just money. Apple and Google might win,
Yep.
but America will be worse.
Yes.
The soil that all this winning flourishes out of is salted.
Yep.
And that means that the next Apple, the next Google will be Chinese.
Exactly.
Potentially the next SpaceX will be Chinese. Wouldn't that be strange? Wouldn't that be interesting if China makes it to Mars first?
This is a great
It
point
would
too.
be great for humanity.
Yeah.
Why don't we do it?
Why don't we
Let's
do it?
do it.
Why don't we just let China lead the space program of the world? Why don't we do that? Why? Why don't we let India do it? Apparently they've got all the SpaceX guys. They've got all the Tesla guys. Why don't we let them do it? What are you even doing here, Elon? Why don't you go to India? Why don't you go to China? The reason you came to America is because you wanted American talent. You wanted American people. I hope. Otherwise, yeah, just let China have it. Just let China go to Mars. Let China go to the moon. Let China explore black holes. We can all just be slaves on Earth. That's fine. That's totally fine. Let China do all of that. There's nothing to be gained for you, right? Because humanity, we're all benefiting, right? It's all the bottom line. The best solution is going to win because China is going to put all its slave labor investment into space exploration. And that makes humanity great. That makes us all good. Wrong. Wrong. Wrong, Elon.
China makes it to Mars before America. Does that sound like fun? It's just humans. They're just interchangeable economic units. Why wouldn't we want that? I think we do it. It sounds good to me. How do we define winning?
How do we define winning?
I just won. That was Asmongold that I spit on. I killed him. I'm not dissing Asmongold. I'm just playing around. I spit on Moist Critical. I'll spit on his face. Fucking guy. No, we love Moist. We have a deal with Moist right now. It's for nicotine pouches.
Love Moist.
These are Moist's nicotine pouches. I call them Moist. Did you know Moist is a Yiddish word? I didn't know Moist Critical is actually Jewish. Did you know that? Crazy fact. Winning. Is winning making it so that tech companies have even higher valuations? Is that winning?
He did put a post or a tweet, Elon did, and it was like, yeah, we have to win. You have to define winning, man. You got to define winning. If defining winning is making America into Chinese slave labor, no, we don't accept that. If winning is seeing stock market prices go to trillions of dollars and the American people live in shotgun shacks, no, that's not winning. If winning is, seeing you on Mars while we all have to buy apples at $50 a pound, that's not winning, dude. That's not winning. Okay? Understand that winning to you is subjective. And if you're not going to explain it, people are going to look down on you.
It's the valuation of Netflix. I figured it out. That's why we're not winning, is because Netflix stock isn't high enough. That's the only way to win.
Exactly.
I want to kill my neighbors and burn them alive and blow up my car, but it's okay because Netflix is worth $3 trillion.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. And you can't be like, oh no, but the price of the stock value of Netflix is actually benefiting you too. Your 401ks and your investments. Do people normally live off their investments? Do people normally we need a way for people who don't have time for investments. Maybe it benefits the boomers, okay? Maybe that's what you're about. Maybe you want the boomers to succeed, but we're talking about the future of the country. The boomers are going to die off. They're going to die out. They're going to die off. They're going to have their investments, and they're going to take them. Meanwhile, here I am. Here most of my 30-year-old general millennial population is. And we're trying to figure out, how do I get from day to day? How do I make myself more profitable and successful? How do I get myself a wife? How do I attract a mate? How do I do all of these things that have been so much easier for the generations that have come before me, for my parents and for their parents. How? How do I do it? Is it by joining a war? Is that the only way? Is that what you want me to do? Is that what you're trying to get us to do so we can kill ourselves off so only the cream of the crop rises? You anti-human bastards? Probably. Probably so.
I want to cut my cock off and scramble my brain with fucking fluoride. I'm gonna win because Netflix is worth.
I'm gonna send myself off to Ukraine to fight against the Russians and die a horrible death so America can win. I'm gonna send myself to Israel and fight against the Palestinians because America's gotta win, man. I don't care if my house is on fire at home and my kids don't know who they are and they're starving and they have no opportunities. I gotta go fight. Fuck that.
$3 trillion. I can't believe the dollars are this high. I can't believe we're winning this much. The dollars are this high. We have such good drones and spying technology. We're winning. That's the most retarded thing I've ever heard.
Absolutely fucking retarded.
At least leftoid medicine vaccine brain niggas. Bleep that out, please. I said people. At least people whose blood has been replaced with vaccines and are so far on the left they salute Mickey Mouse. They think that they're helping people.
Yeah. Yeah.
If-
Yeah. That's absolutely true. There are two types of authoritarians. There are those who don't believe that what they're doing or what they're believing in is leading to authoritarianism, and those who do, who know exactly what the consequences of their actions are going to be. And there are people on the left that believe that some of these policies are good for people, and they genuinely believe that. And they can be deluded into thinking that, and I wish them no ill will because they have been deluded into thinking that. But there are people that do it on purpose and know exactly what they're getting themselves into. And those people are the enemies of humanity.
If winning is just drones doing an aerial display while a robot jerks me off to sample my DNA, then everything is lost. I killed a homeless person today, Chris. Did you know that? It was free speech. I said, "You fucking dirty ass bum ruining my street. I'll kill you." And then I used a speech gun to shoot a speech bullet into his speech head. I ripped an NFL cheerleader team.
Yeah.
The guys too. I used free speech on them. Do they have male cheerleaders in the NFL? National Flag League. Look it up, please. Does the NFL have male cheerleaders? That is awesome if that's true. A third of the league's male cheerleaders.
Great.
America is the greatest country on earth. Here's your male cheerleaders. Is everybody on fentanyl? Everybody working at D'Angelo's? Everybody working at the mall? They're all retards. Everybody who's had their lives destroyed by Big Pharma, by the grist mill of inflation and taxation.
Yes.
Everybody that's been betrayed
Yes.
by their leadership in this country.
And this is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about. If you believe that every American is a subtard or they should fuck their own face, when they don't understand why you would have this policy or this, you haven't looked into why they would hold the ideas that they do. You're just saying things because they make you feel good and make your company bottom line A-okay. You haven't explained yourself. You haven't earned the right to say those things. You haven't. Because you haven't seen the destruction, the devastation, the squalor of the society that's been created and that you think has no redeeming qualities and has no second chance available to it. Are those people, yeah, that are on fentanyl, that are been abused by the government, that have been put into the pharma system and are on paying the constant healthcare bills, are they retarded? Are they fucking dumbasses? If that's how you think, man, get lost. Get lost, dude. I want to help these people. I want to help the people on fentanyl get off of fentanyl. I want to help the people in shotgun shacks get into houses. I want to help the people that are living paycheck to paycheck have money to pay those bills. I want the people that are in debt to get out of debt. I don't say, oh, you sucks. You lost your chance, dude. No schooling for you. No opportunities for you, dude. I'll just bring over people who have already figured the fucking system out. Fuck you. That's the way you think.
Are they all retards? Is everybody who's got, and this is a lot of people, who has $400 in their bank account and is getting hit with overdraft fees,
Yeah.
and has the landlord from hell,
Yeah.
are they all retards? You work at a sub sandwich shop. You couldn't invent PayPal. If you really believe
Yeah.
that these people are all retards, then
Right.
you have no place in the discourse going on about the future of this country.
Yep.
You are just a computer guy. And I don't think you really believe that. I hope to God that you don't.
And that's it.
But if that's
it. Get out of the conversation if that's the case. Don't talk. Speak nothing. Say nothing. It'll be better for you, for your bottom line, if you shut up and leave us alone. And switching your profile to Kekis Maximus might have been cute and funny about 4 years ago. And Sargon had said the same thing, but now it's not. This is serious. We've had 4 years of Biden. We've had 4 years of slipping further and further into debt and poverty and war and potential World War III. This is not the time to make fun and jokes and be like, haha, fucking retards. No. The time now is to actually believe in the people that want to help this country, that are here not to benefit themselves, but to benefit society, that want to help society continue to exist and their children and their future children and their grandchildren. I think at some level you understand this because you have children, Elon, but you can't say what you've said and not explain yourself. And you haven't explained yourself.
really what you believe, then you're not a leader. I could say fuck you. I could say take a step back and fuck your own face.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. If you really believe that the American people are retards, which they are, we got male cheerleaders in the NFL, but if you really do not have in your heart grace and respect for the Homer Simpson, vinyl siding, economy shitbox driving retards
Right.
who make your dream possible.
Right. And this is why a lot of Republicans have issues with people in the cities, because those same people that live in the cities don't understand the food comes from the places where they denigrate every single day. The car manufacturing comes from the people that commute to work from those cities every single day. It comes from hardworking, decent people who just want to have a life. And I have no, misgivings or misunderstandings that not everyone is going to be a tech genius. Not everyone is going to be, an Elon Musk. Not everyone's going to be that. But you have to create a life good enough for those people to make a life for themselves and for the people around them. And if you don't believe in those people, then you're not an American, man. You're not. What are you doing? Again, it begs the point, what are you doing? What are you doing here?
If you have a heart, if you are a human being, then that will sting harder than telling you to go fuck yourself.
And it will. And if it didn't, then please leave. Don't say anything else. And that goes for any other tech leader thought geniuses that want to throw their 10 cents in the debate.
You can do the go fuck yourself all day. I tell myself to go fuck myself. You can say that all day. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Exactly.
I say that in the mirror when I wake up and when I put makeup on. Who gives a fuck? If you believe these people are retards and you don't have any goodwill towards them,
Yes.
then you're not a leader.
Yes.
You're just a nerd.
That's it.
And there's plenty of those. There's plenty of nerds who got lucky.
Yeah.
I bought Bitcoin, Magic the Gathering online exchange. I got lucky. There's no shortage of nerds who got lucky.
Yep.
There's this disturbing.
And that is true. That is absolutely true. There are people that get lucky and that have money and can flaunt it, and they can have opinions, and that's totally fine. But you can't describe yourself as a leader of the people and a leader of America if your idea of leadership is to dunk on the retards. Okay? Because those retards are the ones that bring you your food. They're the ones that make your cars. They're the ones that fix your cars. They're the ones that work with their hands in all those ways. And you should understand this because you built the rocket. I mean, you got to understand there's a bunch of different things that make that work. It's not just all in here. It's actually people building and making things to specifications. You're just not making sense, Elon. You're not making sense. And this is What is a Nation, but we're at an hour and 10 minutes now, hour and 11 minutes. So I'm going to have to stop again. I'll probably have to make a part 3 because we're at 30 minutes, 46, 15, 30, 34. So yeah, we're probably out at part 3 that's going to be coming out. And that's that for now. But let me just go back here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching The Human Advocate. If you've watched all the way through, I do appreciate you. Thank you for looking into my content. Feel free to stick around. I've got more stuff to talk about, and in the new year, as we're getting into this, and I'm figuring out how this whole streaming broadcasting thing works. And I do hope I get to see you again on another stream. Remember to follow me on Twitter at TallGlass10, or follow me on Rumble at Kodak Master as well. Follow me here as well for more content. And leave a comment if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you want to say about my video. Did you agree with it? What do you think about it? Maybe I should go and fuck myself in the face. That's up to you to decide. But you tell me what you think about Elon and the Dear Elon video by Sam Hyde. And we'll come back with you for part 3 here very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Remember, I am the Human Advocate. I advocate for humans and for you. And please have a great day and a happy new year. Happy 2025, everyone. Let's go get it.